From the Somerset levels to the fjords and mountains of Norway, the journey takes 3 days. The route planned and executed by student air crews.
We did it as a continental nav exercise. So we flew across the UK as we would usually do, but then we crossed the channel over into the Netherlands and stopped for the end of our first night in the northern tip of Denmark. Carried on from there, we flew as a formation up the west coast of Norway. Rather bad weather, so we followed the coast all the way up, stopping in Bergen overnight and then finally coming into Bardufoss on the third day.
Norway is more traditionally associated with winter warfare training, but in the summer months it still provides a challenging environment to operate in. Some of the peaks here are more than 5,000 feet high, something you just won't find in the UK.
So 30 courses, extremely lucky to come to Norway. Most of the courses that come through, including myself, have to train in the mountain training areas in Scotland and Wales. So this opportunity is few and far between. The challenges that flying out in Norway brings is unpredictability of the weather. It can change at a moment's notice, and also flying at different altitudes.
They're 200 miles inside the Arctic Circle, with almost 24 hours of daylight.
The whole 24-hour daylight thing out in here in summer in Norway is a challenge. It's a bit weird and different, but it's good to be out here kind of in the mountains, getting a real feel for it, and yeah, it's good.
On the airfield it's around 10 degrees, but high up in the mountains the temperature is still fairly low. Exercise Nordic Hammer takes 2 weeks, including the journey to and from Norway. Once in Bardufoss, both the pilots and aircrew perfect the basics of landing in tricky locations like this.
Flying out here compared to the UK, the scenery is just outstanding. It's incredibly beautiful, but that also brings it with the challenges of the harder flying, with its more mountainous terrain, colder weather. Special features like, for example, the bow. It's like trying to fly a small fly down a trombone. It's quite tight and compact when we're trying to get into specific landing sites.
And in the back of the cab, it's not just a case of keeping the passengers in line.
The biggest thing for us, before we go flying, we work out the sort of performance of the aircraft, how it's going to behave. In the UK it's pretty standard, we get good performance, but out here, being high altitude, it's a lot colder. The engines and the aircraft systems respond quite differently. So we've been learning all about the sort of different effects of that. The weather is very different in the mountains. Obviously it's summertime, but we've already seen this week it can change in an instant. So you've got to be very alive to what's happening with the Met and the weather.
Of course, there's the added benefits of the engineers being able to work out in Norway without the need for 2 pairs of gloves.
Operating out in Norway in the summer clearly poses different challenges to the winter. When we're out here in the winter, we have to consider all the cold weather implications and the challenges that poses. But the summer poses different challenges too, and it's just something we have to work with.
On average, the student pilots are around 5 to 6 years into training. Now all that remains is a matter of months. All being well, the crews will receive their wings in October.